In the year 2147, humanity was no stranger to the vastness of space, yet the cosmos had always felt like a silent neighbor until the night the stars whispered back. Commander Elena Vasquez, perched in the command center of the Earth's orbital station, Harmony, felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Her brown eyes, usually sharp with the focus of command, were wide with wonder as the Etherian ship, an ethereal construct of light and shadow, approached. The moment was surreal, like watching a dream materialize. The Etherians, with their sleek, almost translucent ships, had come in peace, or so it seemed. Their vessel was a marvel of alien technology, its surface rippling with colors not found on the human spectrum. As it docked with Harmony, Elena felt the air shift, charged with the anticipation of first contact. Elena, a woman of 42 with a military background and a PhD in xenobiology, was chosen for this moment not just for her skills, but for her capacity to make hard decisions. She had led operations in the asteroid belt, negotiated peace between the Mars and lunar colonies, and now she faced her greatest challenge. The Etherian ambassador, a being of light named Lyrian, was unlike any creature Elena had ever seen. Lyrian's form was fluid, shifting between what looked like a humanoid structure to something more abstract, like a living sculpture of energy. Their voice was a melody, speaking in a language that the station's AI translated into a soothing, human-like tone. "Peace we bring," Lyrian announced, their luminescent eyes scanning the room, taking in every detail. "Knowledge we share." The initial meetings were filled with awe. The Etherians introduced technologies that could extend human life, enhance our understanding of the universe, and promise an end to Earth's resource scarcity. But as days turned to weeks, Elena noticed discrepancies. The Etherians were too eager, too perfect. They offered solutions for problems humans hadn't voiced, with a readiness that felt rehearsed. At night, in the quiet of her quarters, Elena pondered over the logs of these meetings. Her instincts screamed caution. She began to document everything, every gift, every word, every gesture. She shared her concerns with a select few, including Dr. Kaito Tanaka, the station's chief scientist, and Captain Omar Al-Masri, her second-in-command. Kaito, with his perpetual optimism, argued for trust. "Elena, this could be the renaissance of our species. Think of the lives we could save." Omar, however, shared her wariness. "Too much, too fast. Remember the stories of our ancestors. The gifts of the gods often came with strings attached." The hard decision loomed over Elena like a shadow. Should she risk alienating what could be humanity's greatest ally by investigating further, or embrace the gifts and hope for the best? The choice was hers to make, and the responsibility was crushing. In one of the final exchanges before the Etherians would leave to return with more of their kind, Lyrian presented a device, small yet pulsing with potential energy. "To protect Earth," they said, their voice a serene promise. But as Elena held the device, she felt not protection, but a chill, a whisper of doubt. What was she to do with this peace offering that felt more like a Pandora's box? The chapter ended with Elena, standing alone in her quarters, the device in her hand, staring out into the starlit void, her decision echoing through the silence. To trust or to question. The fate of humanity might just hinge on her next move, the first step into an unknown game of galactic proportions. The weeks following the first contact were a whirlwind of diplomacy, cultural exchanges, and technological marvels. Earth was buzzing with the news of the Etherians, their ships a common sight in the skies, their technology now part of daily life. Commander Elena Vasquez, however, couldn't shake off her initial reservations. The Etherians had set up an embassy on the newly established Unity Station, orbiting Earth alongside Harmony. Here, Elena frequently met with Lyrian, whose presence was both mesmerizing and unsettling.
"We have much to learn from each other,"
Lyrian said one afternoon, their voice a symphony of tones as they demonstrated a device that could purify water from any source.
"Your planet will thrive like never before."
Elena watched the demonstration, her mind racing. And what does your kind ask in return for such generous gifts? Lyrian paused, their light form dimming slightly.
"Only cooperation, Commander. We seek allies, not subjects."
But the more Elena learned, the less she trusted. She convened a secret meeting with her closest allies on Harmony.
"Something's off,"
Elena admitted to Dr. Kaito Tanaka and Captain Omar Al-Masri. They're too eager to help, too willing to share. Kaito, ever the optimist, countered, "Isn't that what we hoped for? Allies who see value in us?" Omar was less convinced. Or maybe they see us as an investment. Look at how they're integrating their technology into our systems. It's not just help, it's control. The trio decided to keep a close watch. Elena began to study the tech more deeply with Kaito, while Omar monitored the integration of Etherian systems into Earth's infrastructure. One evening, as Elena reviewed the latest data, she discovered something alarming. Embedded within the water purification devices was a network protocol that could potentially shut down all connected systems on command. Her heart raced as she considered the implications. The next day, she confronted Lyrian at the embassy. "Your technology has backdoors, Lyrian. Why?" Lyrian's form flickered with what could be interpreted as surprise or perhaps guilt.
"For maintenance, Commander. To ensure the devices function optimally, we would never use them against you."
But the seed of doubt had grown into a tree. Elena knew she had to act, yet every step forward was fraught with risk. She couldn't afford to alienate potential allies, yet she couldn't ignore the threat. She decided to escalate the matter to Earth's Global Council, presenting her findings in a closed session. The room was tense, filled with leaders from every nation, their faces a mix of awe and concern. "We cannot allow our world to be so dependent on technology we don't fully understand," Elena argued, her voice steady but urgent. "We must insist on transparency and control." The debate was fierce. Some saw her caution as paranoia. Others were swayed by her evidence. The decision was made. They would ask for full access to the Etherian text source code and an independent audit by human experts. Lyrian, when informed, seemed to understand the gravity of human suspicion.
"We respect your caution. We will comply with one condition, that humans share all findings with us. Knowledge should flow both ways."
It was a hard bargain, but Elena saw no other path. She agreed, but with a caveat.
"And if we find anything that poses a threat to Earth, we reserve the right to act in our defense."
The agreement was made, but as Elena left the council room, she felt the weight of a world on her shoulders. The alliance was now a double-edged sword. Was this cooperation or the prelude to subjugation? Only time would tell, but one thing was clear. The peace of first contact was now laced with the intrigue of mutual suspicion. The atmosphere on Harmony was charged with tension. The agreement with the Etherians had bought humanity time, but every day felt like walking a tightrope over an abyss. Commander Elena Vasquez, alongside Dr. Kaito Tanaka and Captain Omar Al-Masri, had formed a clandestine task force to dissect the Etherian technology. In the controlled environment of the station's tech lab, Kaito was examining the water purification devices, his face illuminated by the glow of the tech. These back doors aren't just for maintenance, he murmured, his fingers dancing over the holographic interface.
They're designed to be remotely triggered.
Omar, standing guard near the door, clenched his jaw.
So, it's as we feared. They could turn our own systems against us.
Elena nodded, her mind racing.
We need to understand their full capability before they understand ours. Kaido, can you reverse engineer this?
Kaido looked up, his eyes reflecting a mix of excitement and concern.
I can try, but it's like trying to decode an alien language with a children's alphabet book.
Meanwhile, on Earth, the integration of Etherian technology was progressing swiftly. Hospitals reported miraculous recoveries, farms saw unprecedented yields, and energy sources were cleaner and more abundant than ever. The populace was enamored, but Elena couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. One evening, as Elena was poring over reports, her comms pinged with an urgent message from an anonymous source on Unity Station. The message was brief.
Meet me at the observation deck. Alone.
Skeptical but intrigued, Elena made her way to the deck. The vastness of space greeted her, but she was soon joined by a figure in the shadows. It was an Etherian, not Lyrian, but someone with a name she'd never heard. Terran.
Are you alone?
Terran's voice was lower, less melodic than Lyrian's. Yes, Elena replied, her hand near her sidearm. Who are you?
I am what you'd call a dissenter among my people. I believe in true alliance, not subjugation.
Terran explained, their form flickering with agitation.
The technology we've given you, it's meant to control, not aid.
Why tell me this now? Elena's voice was a mix of suspicion and urgency.
Because I wish to avert a war. The High Council plans to use these devices to enforce compliance once your dependence is complete.
Elena's mind raced.
What's your proof?
Terran produced a small data crystal.
This contains communications. They're in our language, but your scientists should be able to translate.
Back on Harmony, Elena, Kaido, and Omar huddled around the crystal. The data was indeed in Etherian, but with Kaido's help, they began to crack the code. The messages revealed plans for an imminent compliance phase, where Earth would be subtly brought under Etherian rule.
This changes everything, Omar stated, his voice grave. We need to prepare for the possibility of conflict. Elena agreed. But we can't just go to war without proof. We need more leverage.
That night, a twist of fate. A small, unmanned Etherian probe malfunctioned, crash landing into the Pacific Ocean. It was recovered, and within it, Kaido found a more advanced version of the backdoor technology. This device wasn't just for control, it could be weaponized. The trio presented this evidence to the Global Council in an emergency session. The mood was somber, the implications clear.
We've been played for fools, said the Russian representative. But this could just be a faction, countered the Indian delegate. We still have allies among them.
Elena stepped forward. We need to act now. Secure our systems, isolate the Etherian tech, and prepare for the worst. But we also need to reach out to Terran, see if there are more like him willing to stand against this. The council agreed, and plans were set in motion. However, just as they began to secure Earth's systems, an unexpected event occurred. Unity Station went dark. Communications ceased, and the station's lights vanished from the night sky. Elena, feeling the weight of betrayal and the sting of urgency, knew this was no accident. The Etherians were making their move, and the game had just escalated. As she rallied her forces, she couldn't help but wonder if this was the beginning of the end, or the dawn of humanity's true test? The sudden blackout of Unity Station sent shockwaves through Earth's defense network. Commander Elena Vasquez, now in full crisis mode, coordinated from Harmony, her voice echoing through the station's comms system. All units, prepare for potential hostile engagement. Secure all Etherean tech. I repeat, secure all Etherean tech, she commanded, the usual calm in her voice replaced by urgency. Dr. Kito Tanaka was working frantically alongside his team to isolate the Etherean systems. They must have triggered something from Unity Station. We need to cut off all external access now. Captain Omar Al-Masri was already on it, his voice tense over the comms. We're isolating the systems, but it's like they're fighting back. It's not just a shutdown. They're trying to take control. As the situation spiraled, Elena received a covert message from Terran. The High Council has moved. I am now in hiding. Be prepared for an attack. The betrayal was palpable. Elena's mind raced through scenarios. If Unity Station was compromised, what else could be? She gathered her team in the command center. We need to strike back. We can't let them think we're defenseless. Omar, prepare the defense grid. Kaido, I need you to hack into their communication channels. We need to know their next move. Kaido nodded, his fingers flying over his console. I'll do what I can, but their encryption is complex. Meanwhile, Earth's governments were in a frenzy. Reports of Etherean ships approaching Earth's orbit flooded in. The Global Council convened an emergency virtual meeting. We've been deceived, the American president declared, his face stern through the video feed. Our priority now is defense. The Chinese representative added, We need to show strength. If they see us vulnerable, they'll press their advantage. Elena, listening in, knew the stakes. We must protect Earth at all costs. I'm launching an operation to retake Unity Station. If we can secure it, we might turn this situation around. With a plan in place, Elena boarded a stealth shuttle with a small elite team, including Omar. Their mission: infiltrate Unity Station and regain control or destroy it to prevent it from being used against Earth. As they approached Unity Station, the void of space was eerily silent, the station dark against the backdrop of stars. Going in dark, Omar whispered, guiding the shuttle into one of the station's airlocks. Inside, the station was a ghost town, the air heavy with the silence of betrayal. They moved cautiously, weapons at the ready. Suddenly, they were ambushed by Etherean security forces, their forms glowing with a threatening aura. Hold your fire! Elena shouted, hoping to avoid an all-out battle. We're here to secure the station, not destroy it! But the Etherians attacked, their weapons unfamiliar, yet deadly. The fight was intense, the corridor echoing with the sounds of combat. Elena used her tactical skills, leading her team through the chaos, aiming to reach the central control room. As they fought their way through, Kaido, back on Harmony, managed to break into the Etherean comms. Elena, they're planning to use Unity Station to deploy a weapon. It's going to target Earth's major cities. Copy that! Elena panted, dodging another energy blast. We're almost at control! In the control room, they faced Lyrian, who seemed torn between duty and doubt. You shouldn't have come here, Commander, Lyrian said, their light dimming with conflict. You gave us no choice, Elena replied, her weapon trained on Lyrian. Stand down, or we'll have to take you out. Lyrian hesitated, then slowly lowered their arms. I did not want this war, but I cannot stop what has been set in motion. Elena, sensing an opportunity, pressed. Help us then. Turn off whatever weapon you've got aimed at Earth. Lyrian, with a heavy heart, complied, disabling the weapon system. But the victory was short-lived. As alarms blared, indicating incoming Etherian reinforcements, Elena knew this was only the beginning of the storm. They had to get back to Harmony, regroup, and prepare for what was likely to be a full-scale war. The return to Harmony was fraught with tension, the shuttle barely escaping the Etherian reinforcements. As they docked, Elena Vasquez could feel the weight of the coming conflict. Earth was no longer a sanctuary. It was now a battlefield. The moment Elena stepped off the shuttle, she was met by Dr. Kaito Tanaka. "We've got incoming. Etherian ships are breaking through our defenses. They're heading straight for Earth." Omar al-Masri, still catching his breath, added, "Our ground forces are mobilizing, but we're not ready for this scale of attack." "We need to buy time," Elena decided, her mind racing. "Kaito, can you use what we learned from Unity Station to disrupt their fleet?" Kaito nodded, his face set with determination. "I'll try. Lyrian gave us a backdoor into their systems before we left." The battle began in earnest as Etherian ships descended, their technology now a weapon against the world they claimed to protect. Earth's defense satellites fired in unison, but the Etherian shields absorbed the blows with ease. From the command center, Elena watched the screens, her heart pounding. "All units, focus fire on the lead ship. Let's see if we can scare them off." But the Etherians were relentless. Their ships, looking like dark stars in the sky, began their assault. One by one, Earth's satellites were destroyed or disabled. Suddenly, Kaito shouted, "Got it! I've managed to disrupt their fleet's coordination!" The Etherian ships faltered, their formations breaking as some veered off course. This was the opening Earth needed. "Launch our counterstrike!" Elena ordered, and from hidden bases on Earth and the Moon, human-made fighters and drones took to the sky. The space above Earth turned into a chaotic dance of light and laser. Captain Omar, now in the pilot seat of a fighter, led the charge. His voice crackled through the comms. "Stay sharp, everyone. We're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for our right to exist." On the ground, the sight was apocalyptic. Cities were on lockdown, but people gathered to watch the sky, a mix of fear and awe in their eyes. Back on Harmony, Elena received a message from an unexpected ally. It was Terran, the Etherian dissenter. "I've managed to rally some of my kind. We'll help from within." The tide was turning. With Terran's intervention, several Etherian ships began to withdraw or turn against their own. The human-Etherian alliance, however brief, was enough to give Earth's forces the upper hand. But the victory was Pyrrhic. The cost in lives and infrastructure was high. As the last enemy ship retreated, Elena allowed herself a moment of relief, but it was short-lived. Kaito approached her, his expression grim. "Elena, they left something behind. A device, much like the one we found in the probe, is now in orbit. It's not active. Yet." Elena's blood ran cold. "Disable it. Now." The team worked frantically, but the device was unlike anything they'd encountered. It was clear this was a contingency, a final ace up the Etherian's sleeve. "We can't disarm it without the right codes," Kaito admitted, sweat beading on his forehead. "And Lyrian might be our only hope for those." Elena knew what she had to do. "Then we need to find Lyrian. If there's any chance of stopping this, it's through them." The battle for Earth had ended, but the war was far from over. As Elena prepared to venture into the unknown again, she realized that the real fight was just beginning. The device in orbit was a ticking time bomb, and time was something they couldn't afford to lose. The aftermath of the battle left Earth in disarray, but there was no time for mourning or rebuilding. The orbital device loomed like a sword of Damocles over humanity. Commander Elena Vasquez knew their next move had to be decisive. "We need to find Lyrian before that device activates," Elena stated, gathering her team in the command center of Harmony. "Last we knew, Lyrian was on Unity Station," Kaido reminded her.
"But after our encounter, they could be anywhere."
Omar, his face marked by the recent battle, added,
"I'll prepare a stealth team. We can't go in guns blazing this time. We need to be ghosts."
The plan was set. Infiltrate the Etherean command ship, where Lyrian was most likely held or hiding, and secure the codes to deactivate the Doomsday device. As they geared up, Elena felt the weight of her responsibility. "This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about showing them we won't be controlled." The stealth shuttle sliced through space, approaching the Etherean command ship under the cover of darkness. Their approach was quiet, but tension was high. Upon docking, they moved like shadows through the ship's corridors, avoiding patrols with the precision of hunters. They found Lyrian in a secluded chamber, guarded but not imprisoned. The Etherean's light form flickered with relief upon seeing Elena. "I feared you would not come." "We need those codes, Lyrian," Elena said, her voice urgent yet compassionate. "Help us, or there won't be an Earth left to negotiate over."
Lyrian hesitated, their form dimming. "There are others who seek peace among my kind. I'll give you the codes, but you must promise to end this war, not just this threat."
Elena nodded, understanding the weight of the promise. "We will do our best. Now, the codes." With the codes in hand, the team made their escape, but not before alarms blared, signaling their presence. A chase ensued, with Etherean forces hot on their heels. The shuttle blasted away from the command ship, dodging laser fire and energy bursts. "Get us back to Harmony now!" Elena shouted as she coordinated with Kaido back at the station. As they neared Earth, Kaido was ready. "Sending the codes now. Let's hope this works." The device in orbit began to power down, its menacing glow diminishing. A collective sigh of relief echoed through Harmony, but the victory was short-lived. A massive Etherean vessel appeared on the radar, larger than any they'd seen. "Incoming!" Omar warned.
"It's their flagship,"
Kaido identified, his voice tense.
"This is their final play."
Elena, now back in command, rallied her forces. "All units, prepare for immediate counterstrike. We end this here." The battle was unlike any before. Earth's remaining defenses, bolstered by the resolve of its people, launched everything they had. Missiles, drones, and human-piloted ships engaged in a desperate dance of destruction. Elena, piloting a fighter herself, led the assault. "For Earth!" she yelled over the comms, her voice a beacon of defiance. The Etherean flagship, though formidable, was caught off guard by the ferocity of the human counterattack. Explosions lit up the sky as both sides exchanged deadly volleys. In a daring move, Elena and her squadron managed to penetrate the flagship's defenses, planting explosives at critical points. "Detonate on my mark!" she commanded, pulling her ship away at the last second. The explosion was cataclysmic, tearing the flagship apart, pieces of it burning through the atmosphere. But the cost was high. Elena's ship was hit, spiraling out of control towards Earth. "Elena!" Omar's voice was frantic over the comms. As her ship descended, Elena managed a last look at the sky, now clear of the enemy. "We did it," she whispered, her voice a mix of triumph and farewell. The chapter closed with her ship crashing into the ocean, the splash a silent tribute to the commander who had saved humanity, at least for now. The crash of Commander Elena Vasquez's ship sent shockwaves through the ranks of Earth's defenders. The battle had been won, but at a devastating cost. The ocean where her ship fell became a somber monument to her sacrifice. Captain Omar Al-Masri, now in command, felt the weight of leadership settle on his shoulders. With Elena gone, the morale of humanity teetered on the brink. Yet, the fight was not over. The Etherians, though their flagship was destroyed, were far from defeated. In the chaos following the battle, a new threat emerged from within. Dr. Kaito Tanaka, trusted ally and friend, was discovered to have been feeding information to a rogue faction of Etherians, hoping for a peaceful resolution through secret negotiations. His betrayal was a knife in the back of those who had trusted him implicitly. Omar, grappling with this revelation, ordered Kaito's arrest. "We've been compromised," he realized, his voice a whisper of betrayal. The focus shifted to the Etherian homeworld, where it was believed the High Council would convene to decide their next move. Humanity needed to strike at the heart of the enemy to ensure peace. A covert operation was planned, with Omar leading the mission. The team, now wary and without Elena's guidance, prepared for what might be the final confrontation. They boarded the Defender, the flagship of humanity's space fleet, equipped with all the knowledge and tech they had salvaged from the Etherians. As they approached the Etherian planet, the sight was breathtaking, yet foreboding, a world of light and energy, starkly beautiful. But the peace was illusory. The moment they entered the atmosphere, they were met with resistance. The Defender engaged in a fierce aerial battle, dodging through the alien skies, its weapons blazing. The Etherians, not expecting such audacity, were caught off guard, but their response was swift and brutal. Omar, piloting the ship, felt the pressure of every decision. Each maneuver could mean life or death for his crew. He led them towards the Council's stronghold, a towering structure that pulsed with energy. Inside, the High Council was in session, deciding the fate of Earth. The Defender breached the defenses, landing with a crash that shook the structure. A small team, including Omar, disembarked, ready for the final showdown. They fought their way through layers of Etherian guards, each more formidable than the last. The corridors were a maze of light and shadow, every turn a potential ambush. Upon reaching the council chamber, they found not just an assembly of Etherians, but also Kaito, standing beside the council, his face a mask of regret and determination.
"You betrayed us,"
Omar stated, his voice cold, his weapon trained on Kaito.
"I sought peace,"
Kaito replied, his voice breaking.
"But not like this."
The council, sensing their last stand, unleashed their most potent weapon, not of energy or force, but of mind, attempting to shatter the resolve of the human invaders. Omar, battling the psychic assault, managed to plant the explosive charges they had brought, intended to end this once and for all. But, in the chaos, he was struck down, his body falling, his mission seemingly at an end. Kaito, seeing the destruction about to unfold, made his choice. With a shout of defiance, he turned against the council, aiding in the last moments to ensure the explosives could be detonated. The explosion was cataclysmic, tearing through the stronghold, a beacon of human resilience and the cost of war. As the dust settled, the Etherian High Council was no more, but the victory was Pyrrhic. The Defender barely escaped, limping back to Earth, carrying the wounded, and the news of their Pyrrhic victory. The chapter ended with the survivors of the mission looking back at the now silent Etherian world, knowing the war had ended. But at what price? The betrayal of Kaito, the loss of Elena, and the scars on both worlds would linger. The Defender returned to Earth, its hull scarred from the battle, a testament to the ferocity of humanity's last stand. The planet below was quiet, the skies clear of the once menacing Etherian ships, but the silence was heavy with loss and the echoes of the sacrifices made. Captain Omar Al-Masri, wounded but alive, was helped out of the ship by his crew. The news of their victory had spread, but the cost was visible in every face, every tear shed. The world awaited news of the mission's outcome, the fate of their leaders, and the future of humanity. In the command center of Harmony, survivors gathered, their expressions a mix of relief and mourning. Dr. Kaito Tanaka, now a prisoner, was brought before them. His betrayal had been a deep wound, but his last act had perhaps saved them all.
I did what I thought was right,
Kaito said, his voice hollow.
I wanted to end this without more bloodshed.
Omar, leaning on a crutch, looked at Kaito with a mix of anger and understanding.
Your actions cost us dearly, but your final choice may have saved us. What now?
Kaito, his eyes downcast, replied, I will accept whatever judgment you deem fit. But remember, there are still Etherians who wish for peace. The Global Council convened, their meeting broadcast to Earth. The decision was made. Kaito would be detained, his fate to be decided later. The focus now was on rebuilding and ensuring that the Etherians could never threaten Earth again. But before peace could truly settle, one last piece of intrigue emerged. A message from Terran, the Etherian dissenter, was intercepted.
The Council is no more, but the technology they left behind can still cause harm. There are weapons, hidden, programmed to activate if their control is lost. The urgency was palpable. Omar, despite his injuries, refused to sit idle. We need to find these weapons, disarm them. This isn't just about winning, it's about securing our future. A task force was immediately assembled, including experts in Etherian technology, led by Omar. They scoured the data from the Etherian homeworld and from Lyrian's help, who had survived the destruction of the Council Chamber, now working openly with humanity. We need to strike these weapons simultaneously, Lyrian explained, their form more stable now, a sign of trust rebuilt. They're scattered across your solar system, hidden in places we've influenced. The operation was vast and complex, involving teams on Earth, Mars, and in the asteroid belt. Each team had to locate and disable the weapons, which were designed to activate upon the fall of the High Council, an insurance policy against rebellion. In the depths of an asteroid, one team found what they were looking for, a device pulsing with dormant energy. This is it, one of the technicians whispered, sweat beading on his forehead as he worked to deactivate it. Back on Earth, in the ruins of what was once a major city, another team uncovered a similar device, its energy signature matching the others. We've got it, the leader reported, his voice tense over the comms. Each successful disarming was a step closer to peace, but the tension only broke when the last device was neutralized in the orbit of Mars. Confirmation, all devices are offline, came the report from Harmony. The room erupted in cheers, a moment of pure, unadulterated relief. Omar addressed the world, his voice carrying the weight of their journey. We've won not just a battle, but our freedom. This war has taught us the cost of peace, the value of unity, and the strength of humanity. In the aftermath, reconstruction began.
Earth and the Etherians who sought peace started a new chapter, one of cautious alliance. Lyrian and other Etherian advocates worked alongside humans to rebuild, share technology ethically, and ensure no such conflict would arise again. The story ended with a monument being erected in space, visible from Earth, dedicated to all who had fallen, especially Commander Elena Vasquez. It was a beacon of hope, a reminder of the sacrifices made, and a symbol of the unyielding spirit of humanity. Peace was hard won, but it was theirs, at last, to keep.